I want to share this one story because I think it's really, really a big takeaway for everything that you teach about heart health. And it's so against what the normal population thinks. But you had a patient that came to live with us because he was a guest at the retreat and he had just had a heart attack. So he was in the hospital and his brother had been a guest with us before and stayed with you. And he said, don't get the surgery that
Don't get the stent. They wanted to put a stent in.
They wanted to put a stent in.
He came from Nashville and flew out to California and did not put the stent in.
When he was, after he had a post heart attack, is that right?
It wasn't, they were going to put it in electively after the small heart attack.
Okay. Yeah. So he was going to get a stent in and his brother said, don't, just go to Dr. Fuhrman's retreat. So he comes to your retreat and everyone in the house was frantic because they heard this guy had just had a heart attack.
He was a doctor.
Yeah, he was a doctor.
A medical doctor.
Yep. And you had to explain that you don't need to worry anymore because this is the safest place for him. So can you explain your thoughts behind that? Because people were frantic that this guy who just had a heart attack could he have another?
Right. If
he didn't get the stent.
Right. Placing the stent would have not lowered his risk of heart attack, could have increased his risk of heart attack and does increase risk of heart attack, But we can immediately diffuse the risk by having him eat a strict diet and dropping visceral fat and flooding his body with nutrients. So you bring up a good point. Let me make this point clear. If you are gaining visceral fat, you're at risk. But if you're in the process of losing visceral fat, your risk goes down tremendously and quickly. That's why people go into gastric bypass. Their diabetes goes away and the risk of having a cardiac event drops, even though they're still overweight, because they dropped 30 pounds the first month. That while your weight is dropping aggressively, your body is stabilizing the endothelial lining from rupturing. So for some reason, putting the fat on increases the inflammatory potential to form a platelet clot, and taking the fat off decreases the potential of forming a platelet clot. And the food itself decreases the propensity of a clot to form, right? So we're talking about anti-clot forming effect of what we're feeding him too.
And because I remember you kept saying, which really impacted me, this is the safest place for him. And so you were confident, which it's really nice to know that if you make these changes, they affect you immediately. There's no waiting time. You can actually
within a month, for a person who couldn't walk half a block, he was hiking up the mountains and back in great shape again.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I love the people that stayed with us because I knew them personally and their stories really do stay with you, which is amazing. Yeah. But you mentioned that it was strict once he followed a strict diet. And I do feel like it's not even a strict diet. It's just the right diet. Like just eat.
Yeah. We don't think we eat strict diets, even though compared to most people they are.
Yeah.
We're just eating what we feel like eating. We've acclimated to ourselves to feeling best and enjoying life more when we eat the right diet. And
I think we really have a different idea of what food is. Like I really think innately it's your belief system, and we believe that like the Nutritarian diet or like the only foods to eat really. Like when I'm at the fair, I don't see funnel cake now. I mean, as a kid, it was quite different, but like now I really don't see it as anything I want to take part in or even as food, because I started to associate the way it makes my body feel. And when you eat so clean, your body really feels it and feels the difference if you then turn. And so just that word strict, I'm like, it's not strict. It's just the right foods that fuel lifelong health.
And your exercise tolerance is always there. And your play span and your ability to do things and be active, and so it's tremendously rewarding to eat this way. Yeah.
So I mean, when you're talking about the end of heart disease, you know that stress management and exercise all plays a role, sure, but you're saying the number one impact is obviously the food.
Absolutely, and I'm also saying that don't think you're protected because you're on drugs for blood pressure lowering and cholesterol lowering, and your numbers look good because you're not protected. If you're still salting your food and you're on blood pressure medication, you're still damaging the interior lining of your blood vessels from the salt, whether your blood pressure is registering the damage or not. And if your cholesterol is low with a statin drug, you're still damaging the endothelial lining of your blood vessels, whether your LDL cholesterol is high or not. You're covering up you're not seeing the effects of the diet because you covered up with a drug, but the damage is still occurring. And that's the major message here, is that people taking drugs to make their numbers look good, they're still having heart attacks, still the number one cause of death, and they still die on the drugs.
Right. So, but you are saying we do have the power through food. You would say you have the power to not have to worry about heart disease or heart attacks.
Correct.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And what would you say to the people that say something like, I know what I should do, I just can't do it?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we're all free, and people should do whatever they want to do. I'm not into controlling other people. And they can take their own risks. Some people may feel, I'd rather die 15 years younger and be able to eat anything I want. Well, that's your right. I'd rather live 15 years longer. And because I learned to enjoy healthy food and I got great recipes. And the myth is they think they're enjoying their life more eating risky foods. And they're really not, because we develop a taste for it and have great recipes and enjoying our, But
I know,
so, I don't know. People have a right to smoke cigarettes or to drink alcohol, right?
But I think I feel like families should get behind this person and start all supporting each other by making little positive changes that could actually make a big impact. So I think even though they say that, like, little changes can really yield a big result. And I remember another person that we worked with who said that the first month they stayed with us, they said that they would just rather die younger, but they were there. So they didn't really mean it. And then the second month, they were like, okay, no, I'm changing everything. It just took me a while to mourn and to kind of let your mind get there.
Right. There's like a mourning period of like giving up these things.
Yeah.
And then your taste buds get stronger and you start to enjoy all the flavors of natural foods more. And you realize, what was I thinking of?
Totally. And then you realize you're out of pain and you could actually move around and you could actually do things. And wait, this actually isn't so bad after all.
Right.
So it's pretty miraculous what you set your mind to, the amount of changes you can make in your daily habits.
Absolutely. But it's up to people. They have the freedom to do whatever they want.
Well, the good part is you're getting them the correct information. And I feel like the biggest red flag is to say, do not listen to the new food pyramid.
That's my point all along. My whole life I've been saying, well, do whatever you want to do, but at least know the right information.
Totally.
Because you're making decisions on the wrong information. That's what I'm objecting to. I couldn't get the right information out there,